Joined by Jason Langley, MD of Oracle NZ. Thank you very much, Jason, for joining us. You just delivered a talk alongside Mark Fleming, CFO of BECA, on how to scale AI. Would you mind just summarising the main messages that you and Mark wanted to get across to this audience for those who couldn't make it here?
Sure, thank you. So there was three core pillars to what I shared on stage. One was around data and trusted data. And I think the key message with that was that AI without access to enterprise data is generic in terms of its context. So really to get that real enterprise value, you've really got to be able to give it access to enterprise data, which takes us to the next pillar, which was security. It's got to be done in a secure and well-governed way. And those are some of the challenges that our customers are grappling with at the moment, and challenges that, funnily enough, Oracle can solve and can help address. And then the third was choice. So if there's one thing that we've seen over recent weeks, it's what happens when somebody makes a decision to turn something off that an organization has built its business around. It starts to become quite problematic. So that choice and that flexibility in your environment, your deployment is really, really critical. So organizations have historically, they've identified one cloud provider that they might want to align with. They might have identified one AI model or LLM that they might want to align with. What Oracle's busy doing, and what actually drew me to Oracle in the first place, was this concept of offering up choice and giving its customers the ability to choose where they wanted to host their environments, their workloads, which AI models they wanted to deploy across those workloads. So historically, Oracle has been, I guess, reasonably siloed in its own technologies. More so these days, we've become very, very open. So we partner with the likes of Microsoft and Azure, we partner with AWS, we partner with GCP. So anyone can run an Oracle database inside those environments. So those were the three core pillars. And the two underlying or human pillars that I put underneath those core pillars were human judgment and the need for human judgment. Whether it's assessing the output that AI is generating critically and intelligently, rather than just blindly accepting that AI is right, is really key. But also understanding your own workflow and your own output. So the example that I gave on stage was, and I didn't go into this in detail, but I did at the roundtable that I've just been at. I've received slide decks that are 30 pages long, 40 pages long, summaries of something or other. And my question to the team members involved is, would you have created that level of content, that volume of content in a pre-AI world? If not, then why do it now? Because we really should be only generating the volume of content that we would have before. We just need to be doing it faster and getting the productivity gains that come with AI utilization. Because as a recipient of that, I'm not necessarily going to consume it. There's just too much information coming through. And the second human pillar was the need still remains for domain expertise. It's all well and good for me to be able to generate content as an individual, but am I an expert business analyst or finance person? No. So I should leave that requirement or that capability in terms of developing the tools that the business needs to the domain experts in that particular field, as an example.
Can you expand on the foundational pillars that can help organizations build and scale enterprise AI? And in particular, is there one you'd pick out as being really particularly challenging for CIOs to establish?
Look, I think they're all challenging, and they all need a high degree of critical thought, a high degree of governance. I would say security is pretty critical. It's obviously very critical. But I think that's a super important one to get right, and particularly testing where you've got security holes. So the reason I say that is there's going to be, organizations are going to be grappling with holes in their security posture, their security policies, where whether it's an external threat or internal employee utilization, getting access to data that those internal employees shouldn't have access to, just through we're using AI in an environment that hasn't been well plugged. So that's number one. Getting your data right, super important. So hygiene of data, getting it ready for AI, all those years of data that have just gone untidy. And I think one of the absolute critical aspects of everything that I've talked about today is humans, your human capital, your people, and providing an environment in which they feel supported, they feel empowered and enabled to adopt AI safely, practice, learn, educate themselves. And an example I just gave in the roundtable was I look at AI as a muscle, or AI utilization as a muscle. If you're not developing that muscle, you don't get better at it. And the degree of creativity that personally I've brought to AI utilization has developed more rapidly because I've been purposefully using AI for what I want to do. So I think training people, educating people, and really kind of helping empower them, support them, while putting guidelines and guardrails in place, and then monitoring those guardrails and guidelines is going to be important for organisations going forward.
What makes BECA a great partner and use case for scaling enterprise AI? And can you pick out some key success factors from this and other such collaborations?
So BECA is a fantastic partner. As Mark said on stage, they've been around for 100 years. I've been working with BECA in different capacities over the last 30 years. And what's struck me with them is they've always been an early adopter, an innovator, and they do so in a safe manner and in a controlled and educated manner. But that hunger for innovation, that thirst for driving new and really kind of pushing those boundaries makes them a really key partner for Oracle. They started out their AI journey with predictive AI, and as generative started to become a thing, really started morphing into that. And now they're well ensconced in the agentic AI that we're providing through our infrastructure layer, our database layer, our application layer. So I think that curiosity and that hunger to drive real, tangible business value through embracing new technologies and new ideas is a key asset that BECA has. And I think, as I mentioned on stage, there's a really wide array of organisational readiness and adoption across New Zealand organisations. I'd put BECA at a very advanced stage, but there are some other similarly sized organisations that I've talked with in the past that are yet to embark, yet to start. And I guess my guidance to those would be get started, because those that don't will miss out on that commercial advantage and will be at risk of being left behind.
Thank you. How are you personally using AI for decision making and executing? Which platforms and capabilities are you discovering and using most, and how?
It's a good question, and there's a number of different answers for that, I think. One from a personal point of view, one from an Oracle point of view. I think going back to that comment around Oracle provides choice. So we've got built into our systems, built into our applications, we've got that flexibility of model. I tend to use OpenAI quite regularly through, we've called it Oracle Chat, which is tied back into OpenAI. So I use that quite regularly. In my personal capacity, I use Claude and Anthropic quite a bit as well. And I think I'm finding that there's similarities between the two in terms of what they can deliver and what their capabilities are. Personally, I've used things like Gemini, which we've just introduced into our Fusion application layer as well. So Google Gemini was fantastic with certain things, with pictures, for example, whereas others were not so good with pictures. And in terms of how I'm using it, I'm trying to be creative with it. I'm trying to use AI to do different things for me, whether that's helping me generate content or information at scale, and then running a critical eye across it. So I think the risk is that unless you're casting a critical eye across these things, AI can just run away from you. The human element has to be there. That human level of judgment that I talked about earlier has to remain. You've got to really sanity check what's being produced. Some of the things that I'm doing that are a little bit more creative and a little bit different. I've used AI to learn my voice and the voice of my team so that we can generate content at scale. And if I generate a generic piece of content and then put it in your voice and the next person's voice and the next person's voice, I can overcome some of that inertia and say, here's something that's ready to go. Validate it, make sure that you're comfortable with the message that's being shared, but it's already pre-canned and ready to go for you, or at least a long way towards where it needs to be. So that's one example. Another example, I'm using it for reporting that would take me time. So tasks where I would have to manually drill in or spend time going through large amounts of information, where I can get AI to go do that manual counting for me, that manual reporting, and then report back. As long as I'm validating that it's accurate in what it's assessing, I think that's a step forward.
Thank you. Okay, last question. So finally, you spoke about the importance of empowering employees to drive enterprise adoption and scaling and even ongoing development of AI. Do you have any parting words of advice for CIOs on effective approaches to enable this sort of empowerment?
It's a good question, and I think it's a question that there's probably not one core answer for. But what I would suggest is that empower or enable first, empower, support, educate, and in that support process, I'd be making sure that the organisation retains a high degree of visibility, can catch things that are not necessarily going right, and can help educate and help course correct on the way through. I think the risk of employees unintentionally running rogue, and unintentional is absolutely the correct word there, unintentionally running rogue by exposing sensitive enterprise data to the wrong models or through models that are not sanctioned by the organisation. I think there's an onus on CIOs and the organisation to ensure that the employees can see the risks associated with that, understand the risks associated with that, so that they can self-correct and be a little more educated and aware of the impact of what they're potentially doing. So I think everything stops and starts with the human layer, the employees. We need to educate them. We need to give them the freedom, the flexibility, the safe environment, the leadership oversight to really experiment and learn and play. An example that I was just chatting with one of the gentlemen from the AI roundtable that we just had, the roundtable we just had downstairs, was personally, I spent something around $1,000 US during May in tokens as I was experimenting and playing. Now, that $1,000 doesn't necessarily sound like a lot, but when you add that up over an entire enterprise, it becomes quite pricey. And we were given the freedom to do that, and that was fine. The value that I got out of it was probably only worth about $50. But it was the experimentation and the iteration and the trial and error that helped educate me in terms of, okay, don't do it this way, try it that way in future, was an important part of that learning journey. So I think creating that freedom to learn, and creating the environment to learn where employees feel supported, and safe to do so is important. You've just got to put a cap on that spending and make sure that you're keeping those costs under control as an organisation.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.